What's up, y'all, and welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. OTAs have started, and we are less than 100 days until football returns. We'll go into that. Plus, one Eagles player takes up an unexpected art form to rehab an injury. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into this week's episode. Starting off with their Eagles news this week, another rookie makes it official as 6th-round pick tackle Cameron Williams has signed his rookie contract. This leaves just safety Andrew Makuba and linebacker Jahad Campbell as the remaining unsigned drafted rookies. But this is not any surprise to me at all. It always takes a while for the second or first rounders to sign their rookie contracts. No big deal. In other Eagles news, linebacker Nakobe Dean, who is still rehabbing a torn patellar tendon in his knee, has taken on ballet as a method of rehabilitation as he looks to be ready by week 1 of the 2025 season. According to Dean, the ballet cross-training has helped him with his flexibility and mobility, stating, quote, "You feel an immediate change. You're not as tight or as sore when you stretch. This is definitely helping with my rehab." And it looks like it's doing him well, as he was seen with all smiles and chumming it up with the rest of the squad during team-building exercises at the basketball court at Palestra. Now, listen, y'all. I don't know if any of y'all have had a torn patellar tendon before. I personally have not. But it ain't a fucking joke. The recovery time, even with surgery and rehabilitation, can take as long as an entire year. And that's not even enough for some individuals. So, anything you can do to rehab it and make it stronger, you're going to fucking do. And I think it's smart. You know, what better way to strengthen a tendon than by engaging in something where stretching and flexibility are really emphasized, like in ballet? You don't just want to focus on rebuilding strength by lifting. You want to fix all functions of the tendon, which include flexibility, agility, mobility, and everything in between. So keep doing what you're doing, Dean, and hopefully the ballet helps you get back out on the field sooner rather than later. All right, y'all, our main topic for this week's episode, OTAs have started. We are that much closer to football, y'all. I know it doesn't feel like that long ago since the Eagles hoisted their second Super Bowl trophy, but in reality, that was almost 4 months ago. Time is flying by, y'all. Anyway, OTAs for the Eagles began Tuesday, and they will run through Friday, as well as June 2nd and 3rd, and the 5th, with mandatory minicamp occurring on June 10th. We've seen some highlights from the first 2 days, and based on the small sample size that we do have of the media coverage from a variety of sources, here are my observations and thoughts so far. First thing we saw, kind of obvious, or that we didn't see really, was no Jahad Campbell. Now, he was out with the players, but went inside prior to the start of the workouts. This was to be expected, y'all. He's coming off of a college injury, and the same thing goes for Nakobe Dean. He was out there with the boys, but then went inside during the workouts. We'll likely see Campbell closer to the preseason, maybe the beginning of training camp, really kind of depending on his recovery time, and there's still no window of time yet for Nakobe Dean. Additionally, there was no Bryce Huff. Reported by John Clark, Bryce Huff was not with the defense during OTAs today. Now, what could this possibly mean? Not totally sure at this point, but this could be something to watch out for. Now, what I'm about to go into obviously is going to exclude any potential extenuating circumstance that would prevent someone from attending OTAs. I get it. Shit happens. Moving on. But personally, If I'm Bryce Huff and there is nothing actively preventing me from going to OTAs, my ass would be out there after last season. $17 million a year was not worth his first year as an Eagle. I know injuries were a thing, but there are performance issues as well that we just cannot ignore. So, Huff needs to get all the practice reps he can get in order to improve in this upcoming season. Another observation was that there were some additional missing Eagles, including wide receiver Devontae Smith, offensive lineman Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson, safety Reed Blankenship, fullback Ben Van Sumeren, and punt return specialist Avery Williams were all absent from Wednesday's OTAs. Cam Jurgens was present but did not participate. Now, this is not really any cause to freak out or anything like that, because for my audience that is newer to football, just learning like what OTAs and all this shit is, these activities are voluntary. So it is not required that they have to go, but there are still a number of veterans that do participate with the rookies. As we get closer to the season, if notable players such as the aforementioned above are missing, that is when it starts to look like it's going to be a problem. Moving on to some more observations. There were some players who got a lot of first team reps or tons of snaps in general that I just want to shout out, and that includes defensive tackle Moro Ojomo, edge Aziz Ojulari, safety Lewis Sine, safety Andrew Makuba, safety Sidney Brown, linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and right guard Tyler Steen. Now, granted, it's only day 2. It is still early, and some of these players are stepping in for either absent or injured players such as Nakobe Dean and Reed Blankenship, but it's interesting to see some of these players start who may be in potential position or starting battles such as Tyler Steen and Andrew Makuba. I'm glad to see Moro Ojomo is getting a ton of snaps and a lot of first team reps. I think he's a pretty underrated guy with a lot of talent. He could develop into the next Milton Williams. He'll be a player of interest to watch in my book. Overall, I'm glad a lot of these guys are getting valuable reps this early. It'll be interesting to see how everyone progresses going into the rest of OTAs. My next observation is on Nolan Smith. So Nolan Smith did participate in the workouts. However, he still got that big ass arm brace on that left arm from his torn triceps in the Super Bowl. Now, I got to imagine this early in the offseason that he's going to be taking it relatively easy, probably not going like 100%. Totally get it. Torn tricep is no fucking joke. Now, he still looked pretty good from the shared media clip. Still quick on his feet. I have high hopes for him again this year and hope he remains healthy. Now, it took a while for Brandon Graham to eventually return from his torn tricep, but for Smith, time is on his side as we are still slightly over 3 months from the first regular season game. My next couple observations are on Cooper DeJean. He's looking fucking fantastic so far, y'all. He has not missed a beat from his stellar performance in the Super Bowl. One thing that was interesting to see is that not only was he working out with the corners, but he was spotted working out with the safeties as well. Now, I remember there were lots of talks about him potentially shifting over to safety when he was a rookie in OTAs last year, but ultimately landed in that starting nickel role. Now, I think he's still a lock at the nickel going into this season. But my thought here is that they're exploring DeJean maybe as a reserve option at safety, especially since it's such a small room. There's been lots of injuries at the position, so DeJean getting some safety reps could be good as a potential emergency option. However, in addition to safety, he has also been taking reps at outside corner, so could he be CB2? We could see a lot of Cooper DeJean across the field this season. We'll just have to wait and see. My next person I want to shout out is Ty Robinson. Now, very small sample size. I'm talking like a clip or two. But he looked dominant in the D-line roles. Not to the level of Jalen Carter, of course, but he's looking better than what I would expect out of a 4th round pick. And I can't wait to see what comes out of Robinson. I think he's got a lot of potential. My next observation is on Jalen Hurts, and it seems like he's picking up where he left off. He was perfect in the 7-7 drills, going 8 for 8 passing, and overall he went 20 for 21, no touchdowns, but no interceptions. However, He apparently did not attempt a pass that was more than 20 yards, and all this information that I just said about Jalen Hurts is sourced from and credited to Elliot Shore Parks, sorry. Now, this does not worry me or surprise me too much, especially as he has yet another play caller, like the 10th in God knows how many years, in Kevin Patullo. It doesn't sound like from Patullo's press conference that there's going to be a ton of changes to the offense. I imagine there will be some, but not like this drastic overhaul that we need because of shitty performance or anything like that. Patullo's in a we'll do what benefits each of our players the most type of mentality, which I think is great. But anyway, back to Hurts. He was achieving this 95% accuracy passing rate to backup receivers, as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith did not participate in Wednesday's practice. So it goes to show that Jalen is capable of getting passes out, even without his top two weapons. Everyone likes to bitch about, oh, he's good because he's got top two wide receiving core. But there's been plenty of evidence that he has been able to excel in the passing game, even without his wide receiver 1 or 2. Excellent day from our QB1. All right, my next observation, thoughts on this topic. The peanut punch drills were fire, y'all. One of the top reasons that our defense was fucking unstoppable last season was our ability to force turnovers, forcing nearly 30 fumbles alone between the regular and the postseason. And they recovered, I want to say about like a half to 2/3 of them, but I don't know the exact numbers. Anyway, this is something that the Eagles were really fucking good at, and there were some notable peanut punches to force and recover fumbles during the regular season, such as from Zach Bond, Oren Burks, Will Shipley, and more. I love to see that this concept is being done in practice and across like all the position groups, because I think it allows opportunities for the defense more than originally thought. The way that they've been practicing the punch outs is it puts their hands in a good position to wrap up for a tackle, even if the ball carrier is able to hold on to the ball from the punch out. If the defender can't punch the ball out, they can still easily make the tackle. And either way, the ball carrier is stopped, and that is great for our defense. The Eagles are thinking of like a shit ton of different game scenarios they could face, and I'm glad to see Fangio picking up right off where he left from his defense's kick-ass performance. All right, y'all, my final topic point on the first couple days of OTAs is there a potential CB2 battle already? Now, we saw Kelee Ringo. There's been lots of talks about Kelee Ringo lining up opposite Quinyon Mitchell, that being a lock. However, apparently I had heard on the Thomas Mott show from this, Adoree Jackson was getting starting reps opposite Quinyon Mitchell. Now, is this cause for alarm? Personally, I don't think so. Kelee has been looking bigger and stronger, and I think this was just something that I didn't expect to see Adoree Jackson getting those starting reps. But then again, it's just the first couple days of OTAs. Now, this is where it's a great opportunity to mix things up, see what works, what doesn't, who's ready now versus who needs more time to develop in camp, and everything in between. In a future episode, I'll go in depth on some potential position battles, such as the CB2 battle, safety battle, and the battle for the right guard position. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15. That's 2NDAND15. Or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts, with the video being uploaded on YouTube later that same day. This episode, 2nd and 15, and Old City Sports Network are brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Head on over to warlordbeardoil.com and use our promo code OLDSPORTS, all caps, for 15% off beard oils, washes, soaps, apparel, whatever you need to maintain a healthy beard. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping. We're also brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the app and use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase only at SeatGeek. We got some local sponsors, including Robert Hangholt Construction. If you are in the greater Philadelphia region and need some work done with your next home project, call the #1 contractor in the area at 610-348-1066 to get a free estimate on your next home project today. That's Robert Hangholt Construction. We're also brought to you by Decals by Aaron. Check out decalsbyaaron.com for all of your Delco products and merchandise. Your #1 spot for everything Delco, that's Decals by Aaron. We're also brought to you by Iron and Steel Threads. Check out ironsteelthreads.com and use our promo code OLDCITY10 for 10% off the entire website, and a portion of all proceeds will go to youth hockey organizations. We're brought to you by Uncle John's Barbecue Stand, located in Claymont, Delaware. Check them out today for some local delicious barbecue and sauces only at Uncle John's Barbecue Stand. And finally, we have Custom Concessions. If you're in the market for repairs to your food truck or trailer, or you're just getting into the food truck business and need reliable service, check out none other than Custom Concessions. They use high-quality materials and provide high-quality service. Use the Sponsors tab at oldcitysportsnetwork.com to check them out today. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our merchandise tab. We have some awesome gear from 2nd and 15, as well as other Old City Sports Network shows, such as Flyers Alley and Check the Net. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network. We will see y'all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds!